Have you ever looked at the person sleeping next to you and quietly thought to yourself, out of billions of people on this planet, how did I end up marrying exactly your? Was it really just timing, chance, and a sudden rush of feeling? Or were there signs long before you met, whispering that your lives would one day intertwine? Have you ever wondered why, even when you tried so hard to avoid your parents' mistakes, you somehow walked into a relationship that carries the same flavor of joy and the same flavor of pain? Welcome back to the channel, my friend. I am happy you are here. Today we are going to talk about something that sounds romantic, mysterious, and a little bit scary at the same time: why you ended up with the person you are with now, and how this is connected to 3 hidden signals that were already present long before you said yes. On the surface, marriage looks like free choice. You meet, you fall in love, you decide. But behind this simple sequence, there are layers of causes and conditions. Spiritual traditions would call these karmic connections and long-ripened causes. Psychology would call them attachment patterns and unconscious attraction. Everyday people just call it fate. The core message today is simple but not shallow. First, the person you married is not an accident. You were already walking toward them through your childhood, through your repeated life scenes, and through your deepest values and inner frequency. Second, these hidden signals are not here to trap you. They exist so that if you learn to see them, you can stop being dragged by blind destiny and begin to participate in shaping it. Third, marriage is not only about romance and companionship. It is a powerful training ground for awakening, compassion, karma, and the healing of old wounds. So let us sit together, like two friends talking late at night, and walk slowly through these 3 signals: your childhood patterns, your repeated life arenas, and your deepest inner values. Along the way, we will weave in stories of people whose marriages looked like coincidences on the surface, but underneath carried the clear handwriting of fate. Imagine a woman named Emma. Emma grew up in a home where her father was hardworking but emotionally distant. He rarely shouted. He also rarely hugged. He came home late, often tired, sat at the table, ate silently, and then watched television until he fell asleep in the chair. When she brought home drawings from school, her mother would smile and praise her. Her father would glance over and say things like, "Study harder. Art will not feed you in the future." There were no dramatic scenes, no broken plates, no police at the door. From the outside, it was a normal family. But in Emma's heart, a quiet hunger formed, the hunger to be seen, heard, and deeply cherished by a man. As she grew older, she told her friends with conviction, "I will never marry someone like my father. I want a partner who talks, who shares, who is warm and emotionally available." Then she went to university and met Daniel. He was funny, charming, and attentive. He remembered the small details of her day. He walked her to class, sent her messages at night, told her that she was different from anyone he had ever met. Emma felt as if life had finally given her the opposite of her father. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, a familiar pattern began to appear. At first, Daniel replied instantly. Then he started to get busy. His career demanded long hours. When she tried to share something vulnerable, he listened for a while, then turned the conversation back to practical matters. When she asked if something was wrong, he said, "You are overthinking. Everything is fine." And so Emma found herself once again sitting across from a man who was physically present but emotionally far away. One evening, after yet another dinner where he spent more time looking at his phone than at her eyes, she went home and cried. A sentence rose in her mind like a painful joke. "I said I would never marry my father. But here he is, just with a different face." This is our first hidden signal. Long before you meet your partner, your childhood family is writing a script inside you. Not a script of specific events, but a script of what feels familiar as love. If love in your childhood smelled like neglect, you may later feel strangely drawn toward people who repeat neglect. If love in your childhood tasted like criticism, you may interpret gentle love as boring and sharp words as passion. It is not that you consciously want to suffer. It is that your nervous system confuses familiar pain with safety. In spiritual language, we could say that your early environment ripens old karmic seeds and plants new ones. In psychological language, we would call it attachment imprint. Whatever name we use, the effect is similar. Your inner compass is set. Think about your own childhood. What did love look like in your home? Was it loud and stormy, with shouting followed by apologies and gifts? Was it quiet and practical, with few words but food on the table and bills paid? Was it conditional, where approval came only when you performed well? Was it absent, where adults were too busy with their own battles to notice your soul? Now look at your marriage. Is there any echo, even a subtle one, between the atmosphere of your childhood and the atmosphere of your relationship? Sometimes the echo is direct. You marry someone very similar to a parent. Sometimes the echo is reversed. You take the role your parent had, and your partner takes yours. Sometimes the echo is sideways. The same feelings arise, but from slightly different behavior. This does not mean you are doomed to repeat your parent's story. It means that unless you become conscious, repetition will happen on its own. The first hidden signal, then, is written in your early experiences of love, safety, and pain. Now let us move to the second signal, the life arenas you keep finding yourself in. Imagine a man named Leo. From a young age, Leo was always the responsible one. His parents often fought, and as the oldest child, he naturally became the mediator. He learned to read the emotional weather in the house, to step in before storms became hurricanes, to cheer up his younger siblings, to distract his parents from each other's sharp words. By the time he was a teenager, he had silently built an identity. I am the one who holds everyone together. Later, in his career, he gravitated toward roles where he was the bridge, the coordinator, the one who could smooth conflicts and manage crises. He worked in project management, then in human resources, always in positions of invisible responsibility. When he went to social events, he somehow always ended up taking care of the drunk friend, the anxious newcomer, the couple on the verge of breaking up. This was not random. Life kept placing him in the same arena, the space between people, the role of emotional glue. Then he met his future wife, Maya, at a company retreat. She was lively, charismatic, and full of ideas. In a group, she was the one telling stories and making people laugh. But Leo noticed something else behind her brightness. There was a tremor of insecurity. She was terrified of being abandoned. He stepped into his familiar role. He reassured her, listened to her fears, made her feel safe. She told him she had never felt so cared for. They fell in love. They moved in together. They married. Years later, after many cycles of her panic and his soothing, of her accusations and his calming, of his exhaustion and her clinging, he realized that he had not escaped his childhood home at all. He had simply changed the stage. The living room fights of his parents had become the private arguments of his marriage. His identity as the one who holds everything together was as strong as ever. This is the second hidden signal, the type of role and environment that keeps repeating in your life. Maybe you always end up being the caretaker, the problem solver, the rescuer. Maybe you always end up being the rebel, the outsider, the misunderstood one. Maybe you always find yourself around creative chaos, or around strict order, or around situations where you must constantly prove your worth. Look at where you met your partner. Was it at work, where you were both striving for achievement? Was it in a spiritual community, where you were both searching for meaning? Was it in a crisis, where one of you was helping the other survive a hard time? The setting itself is a clue. Life tends to introduce key people in the arenas where your karmic lessons are most active. The person you married often fits into a pattern that was already running in your friendships, your work, your family dynamics. If you always play the therapist in your circle of friends, it is not surprising if you end up marrying someone who needs a lot of emotional support. If you always play the rebel at work, resisting authority, it is not surprising if you end up in a relationship where power and control are central themes. Again, this is not punishment, it is curriculum. The second hidden signal is written in the scenes you keep reenacting. Now let us turn to the third signal, your deepest values and your inner spiritual frequency. This sounds abstract, but it is very practical. Imagine a person named Noor. From childhood, Noor felt drawn to questions about meaning. While other kids loved only games, Noor loved sitting quietly under trees, asking questions like, why are we here? What happens after we die? What is truly important in life? She grew up in a modern city, studied business, got a well-paying job, and yet, the pull toward inner life never left. She read spiritual books on her lunch break. She watched videos about meditation and karma at night. She volunteered at a shelter on weekends. Deep inside, she valued compassion, simplicity, and inner freedom more than luxury, status, or social image. Even when she went along with social expectation, this inner compass stayed. Then, during a retreat, she met a man named Ravi. Ravi was not conventionally impressive. He did not earn a huge salary. He did not have a flashy life. But when he spoke about his path, his eyes shone with sincerity. He wanted to live in a way that helped others, even if it meant less material comfort. They spent hours talking about dreams of a simple home filled with books and kindness. They laughed about how their families would probably prefer someone richer or more prestigious. But inside they both knew what mattered to them. Years later, when their marriage went through financial stress, family criticism, and health scares, what kept them together was not romance alone. It was the alignment of their deepest values. They both believed that life is for learning and serving, not just for comfort. They both believed that suffering can be a teacher, not just a curse. They both believed that love is not only feeling, but daily practice. This is the third signal, the core values and spiritual orientation that your soul holds. Even if you are not religious, you carry a basic sense of what life is about. You might believe that success is everything, or that inner peace is everything, or that family loyalty is everything, or that freedom is everything. If you value stability above all else, you may be drawn to a partner who provides that, even if other parts of the relationship are rocky. If you value excitement above all else, you may be drawn to someone who shakes up your world, even if they are unreliable. If you value growth and awakening, you may be drawn again and again to relationships that challenge your ego and force you to evolve. The partner you marry is often someone whose presence presses on your deepest values and questions. Sometimes they share the same values and walk beside you. Sometimes they embody the opposite, forcing you to clarify your own path. Either way, your values acted as a silent magnet. So now, let us put the three signals together. Your childhood wrote in you what love feels like. Your repeated life arenas trained you in specific roles and dramas. Your deepest values set the direction of your inner compass. When you met your partner, you were already carrying all three. They were carrying theirs. The attraction between you was not only about looks and charm. It was also about how these three sets of signals matched, mirrored, or collided. If your childhood taught you to chase unavailable love, and your life arenas taught you to be the healer, and your values told you that saving others gives you worth, it is understandable that you would marry someone who is emotionally wounded, hard to reach, and desperately in need of rescue. If your childhood gave you warmth and safety, and your life arenas trained you to explore the world, and your values push you toward growth, it makes sense that you would marry someone with whom you could create a home base from which you both explore. When spiritual teachings talk about karmic partners, they do not always mean some perfect soulmate. They often mean the people whose presence activates the exact lessons your soul needs to learn. Sometimes that lesson is how to stay, soften, and love. Sometimes that lesson is how to say no, leave, and protect yourself. Sometimes that lesson is how to accept care when you are used to giving it. Sometimes that lesson is how to give when you were used to receiving. Marriage, in this view, is not just a social contract. It is a path of practice. Now, you might be thinking, if everything is wired by these signals, do I still have any choice? Yes. This is the most important part. The signals draw you together. But how you walk from here is where your freedom lies. Awareness is the turning point. Imagine Nima again, staring at Daniel across the table, realizing that she has ended up with another emotionally distant man. She has two main paths. One path is unconscious repetition. She continues to chase his attention, blame him for not giving enough, feel increasingly empty, and conclude that all men are cold. In this path, the signals remain invisible. She is dragged by them. The other path begins with seeing. She recognizes, I am repeating my childhood. I am chasing a familiar pain. My nervous system equates this distance with love. With that recognition, she can begin to gently change. She might seek therapy. She might learn to comfort the child inside her who never felt seen. She might communicate differently with Daniel, saying, when you drift away, I feel abandoned, because this feeling is very old for me. She might invite him into this process. Or, if he cannot or will not meet her halfway, she might have the strength to leave and choose differently next time. Awareness does not magically erase the past, but it turns blind destiny into conscious path. The same goes for Leo, the eternal rescuer. When he finally sees that being the one who holds everyone together is not his fixed fate, but his learned identity, he can start to set boundaries. He can begin to ask himself, what would it feel like to be with someone who can also hold me? What happens if I do not rush in to save everyone? His marriage may transform as he steps out of the role of silent savior and shows his own needs. Or it may crumble if the entire relationship was based on him carrying the weight. Either way, he is no longer acting from compulsion alone. For Norendravi, awareness might show up as noticing when their spiritual values become an excuse to avoid practical responsibilities. They might realize that while simplicity is beautiful, using it to justify financial irresponsibility harms the family. Then their shared values of compassion and wisdom would invite them to grow up in new ways. In all these cases, the three signals do not disappear, but they no longer dictate everything. So, why did you marry the person you are with now? Because your childhood, your repeated life arenas, and your deepest values met theirs in a way that felt inevitable at the time. Because your souls carry karmic threads that pulled you together to work on specific lessons. Because life is creative and precise in arranging classrooms for our awakening. The more important question now is, what are you going to do with this marriage? Will you continue to sleepwalk through the same patterns, blaming fate when you are hurting? Or will you start to read the signals, see the patterns, and slowly, bravely, use this relationship as an opportunity to grow in wisdom and freedom? Maybe your partner triggers your deepest insecurity. Instead of only trying to control them, can you use that trigger to heal your old wounds? Maybe your partner mirrors your worst traits. Instead of only criticizing them, can you see how you share the same tendencies? Maybe your partner stands beside you like a mirror of your highest values. Can you appreciate them more consciously and walk your path together with gratitude? It is also possible that you are no longer with the person this story reminds you of. Maybe your marriage ended. Maybe you divorced, were betrayed, or left. That does not mean this whole reflection is meaningless for you. The same three signals that lead you into that marriage are still operating in you now. Until you understand them, they will continue to shape who you are drawn to next. So instead of only asking, why did they do this to me? You can also gently ask, what in me was drawn to this dynamic? What did this relationship reveal about my childhood pattern, my life arenas, and my deepest values? This is not self-blame. This is self-liberation. Before we close this part of our journey, I want to invite you to take a quiet moment after this video and reflect. When you think about your current partner, or your most significant past partner, what echoes of your childhood do you see? What repeated arenas were present when you met? What values were at play? If you feel safe enough, you can share in the comments how you met. And, looking back, what little signs you now realize were already pointing toward the life you two would create together. You do not need to reveal anything to private, just the insights you are ready to speak. Your story may be the light someone else needs while they sit on the edge of their bed wondering why their marriage feels so strangely familiar and so painfully confusing. If this long conversation touched you, if it helped you see your relationship not only as romance or tragedy but as a field of karma, learning, and awakening, please support the channel. You can subscribe so you do not miss future deep dive episodes about destiny, cause and effect, compassion, spiritual practice, and the real work of loving another human being. You can like this video so that more people, quietly struggling in their marriages, might find a new way of understanding. You can share it with a friend who keeps saying, "Why do I always end up with the same kind of person?" and does not yet see the deeper patterns. If you feel called to walk more closely with this community, you can consider becoming a member. Your support helps us continue creating long, thoughtful content that dares to talk honestly about karma, love, and the possibility of waking up inside our most intimate relationships. May you have the courage to read the hidden signals written into your life, the wisdom to respond differently when you see them, and the compassion to treat both yourself and your partner as souls walking together through a very profound classroom. Why does everything get worse the more you worry? How to turn cursing worry into protective terror. Article 10 minus last article of this batch generated at 25/12/10 M30. Have you ever noticed that the more you worry that your child will get into trouble, the more mistakes they seem to make, the more you are afraid that your partner will leave you, the kinder and more anxious your relationship becomes? Have you ever said to yourself, "I am only worried because I care," and yet watched as your worry slowly turns the atmosphere at home heavy, nervous, and tense, until everyone feels suffocated by your love? Welcome back, my friend. In this final episode of the batch, we are going to look carefully and kindly at a habit almost all of us have: worry. Not the gentle kind of concern that quietly supports others, but the heavy, fear-soaked worry that feels almost like a curse. The kind that repeats worst-case scenarios in your head, makes your body tense, and unconsciously pressures the people you love. The teaching behind this conversation makes a sharp distinction between two modes of care. One is cursing worry, the kind of fear that silently says, "I am sure something bad will happen." The other is protective care, the kind of love that says, "I know life is uncertain, so I will do what I can to support you while trusting larger forces." The core message is simple. First, worry is not the same as love. Second, constant fear-based worry often becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, shaping your words, your actions, and the emotional climate in ways that actually increase the chance of conflict and mistakes. Third, you can learn to transform the raw energy of worry into a more spacious, wise, and truly helpful form of care. So let us walk through a few very human stories and then explore how you can shift from cursing worry to protective care in your own life. Imagine a mother named Claire. Claire loves her teenage son, Josh, more than anything. She still remembers the moment she held him in her arms for the first time. In that instant, she made a silent promise: "I will protect you with everything I have." But as he grew older, the world seemed more and more dangerous to her. News headlines screamed about accidents, drugs, crime, mental health crises. Other parents shared horror stories. Her mind built a catalog of possible disasters. So every time Josh left the house, she would say things like, "Be careful. Do not get into trouble. Do not mix with bad friends. Do not stay out late. The world is very dangerous, you know." At first, he said, "Yes, Mom," and rolled his eyes playfully. But as he entered his teenage years, something shifted. He felt watched. Every time he checked his phone, there was a new message from his mother. Where are you? Who are you with? Why are you not answering? Are you in trouble? If he replied late, she would greet him at the door with a barrage of anxious questions. If he tried to explain that he had just been talking with friends or studying, she would say, "You never listen. One day something terrible will happen and you will regret not listening to me." From her viewpoint, she was simply expressing love. From his viewpoint, he was living under a constant cloud of distrust. One evening, after a particularly long lecture about dangerous influences and ruined futures, he snapped, shouted something cruel, and slammed the door. Claire sat at the table, shaking and hurt. "I thought," rose up like a dark wave. "See, I was right to worry. He is becoming rebellious. He will ruin his life." What she did not see is how her constant cursing worry had quietly pushed them to this point. Her fear transmitted through her tone, her facial expression, her questions. Even when she meant well, the energetic message beneath her words was, "I do not trust you. I am sure you will fail. I am expecting disaster." A teenager, already struggling to form his own identity, received this message again and again. He felt unseen as a growing person and seen only as a walking risk. In such an atmosphere, it is not surprising that he started to pull away, hide things, and even act out. When we are treated as if we aren't trustworthy for long enough, we may either collapse or rebel. This is the painful irony of cursing worry. You think you are protecting someone. In reality, you are projecting fear onto their path. You send repeated negative images into the space between you, and those images subtly shape both your behavior and theirs. Now imagine a different mother, named Rosa. She has also read the same news, heard the same stories, and felt the same fear. But through her own spiritual practice, she has learned to catch her worry before it spills out. When her daughter leaves the house, Rosa still feels a flutter in her chest. That instead of launching into a list of terrifying possibilities, she takes a breath and says, "I trust you are learning to make good choices. If anything feels wrong out there, call me, and I will come." When she is alone, she does not feed herself with worst-case scenarios over and over. She acknowledges her fear, then consciously offers a silent blessing. "May you be safe. May you remember your own wisdom. May good people and good conditions surround you." If her daughter makes a mistake, Rosa feels worried and disappointed. But instead of saying, "I knew it, you always mess up," she says, "Let us sit down and look at what happened and what you can learn from this." Rosa's care is protective rather than cursing. She knows she cannot control her child's life. She focuses on building trust, teaching skills, and strengthening their bond, rather than trying to prevent every possible bad thing through anxiety. Her inner work does not guarantee a perfect outcome. Life remains uncertain, but her daughter grows up feeling seen, respected, and supported, not suffocated. Same world, same dangers, same love. The difference lies in how their inner worry is handled. Now let us step into the realm of romantic relationships. Imagine a man named Marco. Marco grew up watching his father leave. When he was 8, his parents divorced. His father promised to visit but often canceled. As a young adult, Marco told himself that he would never abandon anyone like that. But the wound remained deep inside. He carried a belief people you love will eventually leave. So when he finally found a partner, Lena, he clung tightly. At first, his attentiveness felt sweet. He wanted to know where she was, if she had eaten, how she felt. He showered her with messages and calls. But over time, his tone changed. When she went out with friends, his messages became, "Who will be there? Any guys? What time will you be back?" If she did not reply quickly, his mind filled in the worst possible script. She must be losing interest. She must be with someone else. She must be lying. By the time she came home, He was already hurt by his own mental movie. He greeted her not with warmth but with coldness and interrogation. She said, "I need some space, some trust." He said, "I only worry because I love you." From his side, his fear felt protective. If he stayed alert enough, maybe he could prevent abandonment. From her side, his worry felt like a cage. Just like Claire with her son, Marco's cursing worry created exactly what he feared. His constant suspicion eroded the safety between them. She began to walk on eggshells, hiding small things not because they were wrong, but because she wanted to avoid his reaction. That hiding confirmed his fears. The dynamic spiraled downward. One day, exhausted, she left. Marco sat alone, heartbroken, thinking, "See, I knew it. Love never lasts. Everyone leaves me." He did not see how his fear-based worry had become a prophecy he helped fulfill. From a spiritual perspective, we can say that thoughts and emotions are also action. They are subtle action. They plant seeds. They shape the field of energy in which outer events unfold. When you constantly chant in your mind, "You will betray me. You will get hurt. You will fail. You will disappoint me," even if you never say those exact words out loud, they leak through tone, body language, choices, and reaction. Others feel it. Cursing worry is like mentally placing curses on the future while telling yourself you are just being realistic. Protective care is different. It acknowledges danger and uncertainty, but moves from faith and love rather than from paranoia. Let us look at another scene, this time at work. Imagine a team leader named Hannah. Her company is going through change. She is genuinely concerned about her team's performance. She knows that mistakes could cost them all. If she operates from cursing worry, she might walk into every meeting with a frown, saying things like, "If we keep going like this, we will definitely fail. The client will abandon us. We are heading toward disaster." She triple-checks everything, not from a calm desire for excellence, but from fear. Her team feels constantly criticized and distrusted. They become nervous, second-guessing, afraid to try new ideas. Mistakes increase because the atmosphere is tense. Creativity dies. If she operates from protective care, she walks into meetings with honesty and steadiness. She might say, "We are in a challenging period, and there is a lot at stake. But I believe we can handle this if we stay focused and support each other. Let us look clearly at where the risks are and how we can minimize them." She checks work as needed, but her questions are grounded and respectful. She encourages people when they do well and gives feedback without contempt. The team feels alert but not paralyzed. They rise to the occasion. Same reality, different inner posture. One is cursing worry. The other is protective care. At this point, you might be wondering, does this mean I should never worry? Is all worry bad? No. There is a place for appropriate concern. If you see your child running toward a busy street, your body will and should react with alarm. If you notice unhealthy behavior in your partner, your heart should care. If you lead a team through risk, you must stay awake. The problem is not the first spark of concern. The problem is what your mind does with it. There is a big difference between this might be dangerous. Let me respond wisely and everything will definitely go wrong. I knew it. I am doomed. Spiritual wisdom teaches us to see that fear-based rumination is not neutral. It is an action. It is a choice, often unconscious, to feed certain images and stories. In Buddhist teachings, there is an emphasis on intention. When your intention is soaked in fear, grasping, and distrust, the karma you create is different from when your intention is soaked in love, clarity, and trust in cause and effect. So how do we move from cursing worry to protective care in daily life? First, we must learn to notice the moment when concern turns into curse. For example, your child is going out at night. Concern says, "Night can be risky. Let me check the basics and remind them of safety." Then let go. Cursing worry says, "Night is dangerous. Something bad will probably happen. I must control everything. I cannot rest until they are back. And even then I will replay all the danger." You can't rein yourself to catch this shift. It often shows up in your body as tightness, in your thoughts as repetitive worst-case scenarios, and in your speech as sentences that start with "you always," "you never," "it will definitely," "I just know this will go wrong." Second, when you notice cursing worry, you can gently shift your inner language. Instead of saying inside, "My partner will leave me," you can say, "My fear of being left is loud right now." Instead of saying, "My child will make a mess of their life," you can say, "My love for my child is strong and I want them to be safe and wise." By naming your fear as fear, you stop treating it as prophecy. You create a small space between your mind's story and reality. Third, you can consciously choose to turn worry into blessing. This may sound sentimental, but it is a very practical discipline. When your mind starts painting terrible scenes, pause, feel your breath, and then deliberately offer a different kind of thought. May you be safe. May you remember what you have learned. May good friends and good conditions surround you. May I respond wisely no matter what happens. This does not guarantee that nothing difficult will happen. Life is bigger than our wishes, but it changes the quality of the energy you are sending into your relationships. You are no longer mentally cursing the path of those you love. You are consciously placing protective care around them. You can also express this shift in practical ways. For example, instead of only saying to your partner, "I am terrified you will leave me, so please do not go out," you might say, "I notice that I get anxious when we are apart because of my past experiences. I am working on this. It would help me if we can agree on a simple way to stay connected when you are out." Like a quick message at certain times. Here, you are not trying to control them with fear. You are owning your issue while asking for collaboration. Instead of saying to your child, "You are going to fail if you keep doing this," you might say, "I am worried because this habit could cause you problems later. Let us look together at what could happen and what other options you have." Instead of repeatedly telling yourself, "My life will collapse if I lose this job," you might say, "Losing this job will be very hard, but I trust that with effort, support, and time, I could find a way forward if it ever happens." In each case, you are turning cursing worry into protective, realistic care. You neither deny risk nor drown in it. A fourth step is to deepen your trust in cause and effect. When you do not believe in any larger law or structure, everything feels random and terrifying. Your mind tries to control 100% of outcomes through worry. When you begin to trust that actions have consequences, that seeds you and others plant will ripen according to many conditions. You can relax a little, not into laziness, but into a wiser attitude. You realize that your job is to plant the best seeds you can: kindness, honesty, skill, boundaries, courage, and love. Then, you watch the fruits with humility. If something painful happens, you do not immediately think, "My worry caused this. I am guilty for everything." Instead, you think, "Many causes and conditions came together here. Let me respond with as much wisdom and compassion as I can, and adjust my actions going forward." This kind of trust reduces the desperate feeling that you must mentally anticipate every disaster in order to prevent it. From a Buddhist viewpoint, there is also the idea of merit and dedication. When you do good acts, practice meditation, speak kindly, or help others, you can dedicate the positive energy of those acts to the safety and awakening of those you love. For example, you might say in your heart, "May whatever goodness I create today support my child's well-being," or "May my practice today become a light on my partner's path." This is a very different use of mind than replaying every possible failure. It is proactive rather than reactive. Finally, you need to develop compassion for yourself as the worrier. Many chronic worriers grew up in environments where danger was real. They may have had unpredictable parents, unstable finances, or actual trauma. For them, thinking ahead and scanning for risk was once a survival strategy. If you recognize yourself in this, do not treat your worry as something evil. It is a part of you that once tried very hard to keep you safe. Thank it for its service. Then gently explain that you are in a different phase of life now. Tell it, I appreciate that you are trying to protect me and the people I love, but I want to find a wiser way. Please rest sometimes. I will listen to your warnings when they are realistic, but I will not let you control every moment. You might need support in this process: therapy, meditation, spiritual friends, good books. The point is not to force yourself to stop worrying overnight. The point is to gradually retrain your nervous system, to trust that you can respond to life's surprises without living in a constant state of hyper-alert fear. As you practice this, you may notice something beautiful. The people around you begin to relax. Children become more open with you because they do not fear your reaction as much. Partners feel more at ease because they sense trust beneath your questions. Friends feel less drained and more nourished by your presence. Your relationships become places of safety instead of places saturated with tension. And you, perhaps for the first time in a long while, feel what it is like to care deeply without constantly bracing for catastrophe. Before we close this final article in our series, I want to ask you gently in your life right now, where does cursing worry show up the most? Is it toward your children, your partner, your health, your finances, your parents, your own future? If you imagine turning even 10% of that worry into protective care instead, what might change? What would happen if, the next time your mind begins its familiar spiral of worst-case stories, you stop for 3 breaths, name your fear, and then consciously send a blessing instead of a curse? It may feel small or even silly at first, but over months and years, this is the kind of small shift that can change the emotional climate of a whole family. If you feel ready, you can share in the comments one area where you are learning to transform worry into care. You do not have to reveal all the details. Just a simple sentence like, I am working on worrying less about my daughter's career and supporting her more. Or, I am learning to trust my partner instead of checking their phone, can already encourage someone else who is trying to do the same. Thank you for walking with me through this entire batch of deep conversations about awakening, wisdom, karma, compassion, repentance, relationships, and destiny. If this last episode on worry gave you even a small sense of relief or a new angle on your own habits, please support the channel. You can subscribe so that future long-form reflections continue to reach you. You can like this content so that more people, trapped in the prison of anxiety, might find a door. You can share it with someone you love who is constantly worried and tired, but does not yet know there is another way to care. And if your heart feels aligned with what we are doing here, you can consider becoming a member. Your support helps us keep producing honest, slow, story-based content that respects your intelligence and your soul, and that accompanies you as you slowly rewrite your relationship with yourself, others, and fate. May you learn to recognize when your love has turned into fear. May you find the wisdom to transform that fear into steady, protective care. And may you and the people you love walk together in an atmosphere of trust, courage, and gentle, awake attention.
Every person carries a certain energy. Your focus, your dreams, your purpose. Bracelet is a physical reminder of that energy. Symbol you wear daily, that pushes you to stay grounded, balanced, and aligned. If one of the bracelets caught your eye, you can order it through the link in the description and check more powerful styles on our homepage store. Choose the one that strengthens your journey.